welcome to the final episode of Season 2's Comicazi Videodrome.
Yeah, we've been doing our 100 greatest graphic novels of all time, ones you can buy at the store.
In no particular order.
Yeah, in no particular order.
Yeah.
But we would like to officially recognize the order in which we ranked these comics.
Yeah, that would be great. So,
here they are.
have at it.
Whoa! There they go.
Oh.
Wow.
Whew, that was great.
That was cool.
That's a lot of books.
Yeah. I wonder how Tom made them fly right in front of us.
He is an electronical wizard.
I know. Like,
We
literally,
call him the fixer.
literally a wizard.
Yes. He doesn't have the big helmet.
I was going to say,
Yeah.
I wish he did, though.
The wingless wizard. We call him Wingless Tom. New name?
Wingless Tom.
Frightful Four. We need one more in the Videodrome cast, and we'd be the Frightful Four. We could be the Titanic 3.
Yes.
But,
Let's jump into our final segment. Like we were saying, we got some
what
cool
was this,
stuff.
number 22 in the list that just came?
I don't know. 24 maybe. But Batman: Son of the Demon has a #1 place in my heart as a cool Batman story.
Yes, one of my absolute favorite Batman stories.
Yeah, people like to say, like, I don't know if we've pointed this out before. I know we agree on this, but people like to point as the Joker as like Batman's archenemy.
Not my favorite.
Ra's al Ghul. Because he's like he's a billionaire, philanthropist as well, but he's just way more sinister. Than,
He's
Bruce
a
Wayne is.
darker, more ruthless Batman, and I think
Yeah.
there's a more personal connection with him. I love that he calls Batman the detective.
Yes.
That's an aspect of like late 60s, 70s Batman that is one of my favorites, is that he used his mind to figure things out, and Frank Miller torpedoed that in his version, and I like that Ra's continues calling him detective, and of course, Talia.
Yeah, and Talia. This is the big moment where Talia. There's always sort of that flirtation between Talia and Batman, but this is the big moment where they hook up, and Batman still has his cowl on. And
Yeah.
it's pretty great, and
This started as an Elseworld story.
well, not officially.
Yeah.
But the ending was so just, it has such an impact that it had to be written out, essentially. It had to be looked upon as like an imaginary story.
Yeah.
This isn't real, because the ending, do we want to talk about the ending?
Well, we don't have time. We should visit it in a later...
Honestly, we have visited it through another book, because the character that shows up at the end was left on the shelf for a while as sort of like, again, an imaginary character, like this never happened. And then they brought him back, and he's had such a huge impact on the Batman line. And I, for one, love the character. I'm sure you can guess who it is. It's someone's son, but it's really good. So check out Son of the Demon. What do you got?
I've got G-Man.
Oh, yeah, Chris Giarrusso.
Yeah, Chris Giarrusso, who's pretty local, I think.
Yeah,
I think
I
he's
don't
come
know where
through
he
the
is.
shop.
He's really nice. He's like, I met him like a couple times at cons, and he always does sketches for everybody. Whether you have money or not, that's great, and that's just a great way.
Which
to
is
put yourself
apropos, because this book is so fun.
Yeah.
It's, G-Man is Mikey G, little kid that finds a magic blanket, and he makes a cape out of it, and when he puts the cape on, he gets like flight, super strength. He's kind of invulnerable.
Yeah.
And he's got a brother Dave, who's kind of a bully, who made a belt out of the same magic blanket, and also gets superpowers. And they're brothers, and they're kind of picking on each other, and they're teamed up with their friends like Sparky, I think his name is, or the Spark, and he has like magic shoes that make him run fast.
Great.
That's just really fun.
That's perfect for kids, because they can look at the little
And
things in their...
adults.
And adults, but, they can look at the little things in their life. Their baby blanket, their cool new pair of shoes, and they can, they can feel like a superhero.
Yeah.
It doesn't take much.
I know. I ran around with a blanket tied around my neck as a kid, and was a superhero.
Yeah.
It's good stuff.
I would make like a ray gun out of Tinker Toys. Be like
I just
Flash
had a
Gordon or
stick.
something. A stick. Tinker Toys are kind of just like sticks, but they're painted and shaped. But G-Man, really cool.
Really good. Check it out.
Chris Giarrusso, also check out his old mini Marvels. with her.
Those are brilliant.
They went
Love
on for
those.
like a while. Like they went on for a while, and they got funnier and
The
funnier.
best thing of '90s Marvel, I think.
Yeah. and on we're going. Like I remember for a while, like every big book that everyone was gonna read had like a mini Marvel's backup feature, which was super funny. The Planet Hulk one, like I look at that one, and that one's so.
I think those are collected.
Funny. Yeah, they're totally collected, but it's kind of hard to find. So
Yeah.
keep a lookout for it. Big giant mini.
Or buy '90s comics on our back issue bin. And
oh,
look for that.
super cool.
What do you got over there?
Madman, Mike Allred, super fun, trippy awesomeness. Madman is Frank
Einstein.
Yeah, Frank Einstein. He's such a like an impulsive character. You know, just that name, Madman, and he's got that old like. When I was younger, I had a Madman comic. I had the Madman Superman comic. It was like one of the first comics I ever got.
Didn't Mr. Mistleplick have something to do with that?
Yeah, it was great, and honestly, it was just Silver Age weirdness, perfect for both the characters, and that's pretty much what Madman is.
Yeah, he's kind of an amalgam of. If I remember Madman right, I haven't read it in so long. He had a car accident and died, but then he was stitched back together by two like mad scientists who one of them like he's like, let's make this guy like the epitome of my two favorite like people in history, which was Sinatra and Albert Einstein.
Right.
And and there's also the obvious Frankenstein reference, but like for superpowers, I think he's amnesiac.
Yeah, he's always.
If I remember,
he's amnesiac, but he's not. Yeah, but he's very carefree. Sort of. Like everything. So if a mystery of his past pops up, he's like, oh, cool. Well,
yeah, he just kind of wanders around. He's a jack of all trades.
Yeah.
And he's got like super fast reflexes.
Yeah, he's got a cool yo-yo. He's got like all these weird little gadgets and weapons.
He's got like rogue powers too. Doesn't he learn when he touches you? Yeah, like he'll get those skills off of you if he gets in physical contact.
That's pretty cool. I love Madman just because it's one of those again and like GMan, the writer and the artist are the same person. Mike Allred.
Mike Allred did that?
No,
is he Mikey G?
But that's one of my favorite things. Is it's something you can just really pour over the art
and his stylized art is great.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's like
I said it. Yeah,
it's like Carmine. It kind of reminds me of Carmine Infantino. I don't know if that sort of connection is made, but all his characters are very lithe. They all sort of like kind of float through wherever they're going. Mm-hmm. I like Mike Allred a lot.
I'll give it to you.
Thank you. Last up, one of my favorite superhero teams.
Fantastic Four. John Byrne's run on Fantastic Four.
So good.
Arguably the best after Kirby and Lee's.
Yeah, because after Kirby and Lee left, it sort of just became like there's some great issues in there. Mm-hmm. I've got a lot of issues that I like Thundra makes her first appearance. She's one of my favorite characters. But they didn't have that same sort of explorer, adventurer feel to them. They very much became like the New York superheroes that Spider-Man and Daredevil are. When they are based in New York, which is awesome, but they're supposed to go everywhere. There's not supposed to be a limit to the Fantastic Four's adventure.
Yeah, the Marvel Universe was discovered in Lee and Kirby's Fantastic Four. If it weren't for the Fantastic Four, we wouldn't have a Marvel Comics.
Anything, yeah. And everything, pretty much a ton of the stuff you like in the movies first showed up in Fantastic Four. People like to, poop on the Fantastic Four these days because they're not owned by Marvel Studios. But truthfully, they are so much more important to the structure of the Marvel Universe than the Avengers ever
As
could.
we've said in previous episodes with Robinson's run on Fantastic Four right now.
True, absolutely.
That they're a cornerstone, and you should be paying attention to that book. Well, as long as it's lasting.
But I think going back to that and connecting it to sort of newer stuff. I don't think the Fantastic Four are going away.
No, not
Sue
at all.
Storm just showed up in S.H.I.E.L.D. this week and was awesome. It was really fun. I hope she should honestly have her own book. Like, I would read the heck out of a Sue Storm book as, like, sort of this, like, new ultimate spy. She should be like Nick Fury, honestly. She should be running S.H.I.E.L.D. She is the ultimate stealth, like, subterfuge expert. You know what I mean?
It's,
she's always, like, sneaking up on him.
Her powers lend herself to that.
Yeah.
But her personality doesn't. I mean, I think in the Byrne run, he took massive steps toward making Sue Richards a
really,
a powerful member of the
really,
Fantastic
really,
Four,
really
and
powerful.
everything since the 80s, since Byrne's 5 years on the book. Every stride that Sue Richards has made is based on John Byrne's work with her.
I can just. Do you have a favorite moment from that run?
From John Byrne's run?
Yeah, because I got one.
It's got to be for specifically for Sue,
or just anyone,
or just
John Byrne's.
I really love the whole when Galactus comes to Earth.
That's the best part.
And the Thing knocks him out with one punch.
Yeah, it's
because he's haunted by, like, Doctor Strange cast a spell that makes Galactus face all of the people that he killed, and then Mr. Fantastic, boom, rubber bands Ben Grimm right into Galactus, knocks him out.
It's the first, like, real physical altercation between Galactus and the Mortal. Galactus is really weakened, so he's sort of got a cap to, his infinite power, and they all ransack him at once.
And the follow-up, the trial, which kind of goes hand in hand with it. The trial of Reed Richards.
And they do this awesome thing where my favorite part in that, even the whole series, my favorite part is just during that trial when they talk about Galactus and how each alien has a different name for him, and how he shows up as, like, a different being to each alien.
He's perceived differently.
Yeah, so, like, that explains why he looks like a giant guy in a purple, monstrous outfit.
And not as a cloud.
Yeah, well, he could be a cloud to some people. A really boring,
just
people
who watched
race.
a movie.
Yeah, who just see everything in movies.
There's a lot. We could do an entire episode on best John Byrne moments.
I'll tell you the worst. I'll give you the worst.
Yeah?
And it was retconned out. Someone brought it up, and they were just like, and it was in a letters page recently, and they were like, comics were meant to change, things were meant to go away, what was okay back then is not okay now, blah, blah, blah.
What was it?
When Reed Richards, he goes back and recounts the tale of Reed Richards first meeting Sue, and Reed is college age, and Sue is like in 6th grade or something like that. Screwball.
Yeah, that was near the end of Byrne's run.
That wasn't, and that wasn't retconned like story wise or anything. That was Sue Storm's secret little sister or whatever. That was like,
it's just getting creepier.
We're
talking about how this is awesome.
Well, and I'm just saying they went back and they fixed that. So someone reading that, if they see that, don't take our judgment on that. We disapprove of that part. But John Byrne, he's awesome.
John Byrne, great FF stuff.
Great FF.
Read it.
Welcome back to Kamikaze Videodrome. Welcome back. Welcome back.
Welcome back. Welcome back.
That's my favorite sitcom theme song ever.
Yeah?
Welcome back, Kotter.
It's good stuff.
It is awesome.
It's in my iPod shuffle.
Is it? I gotta get some of that. So welcome back to the
Welcome back.
Are you done?
What?
That mustache looks like it walked out of the set of
Gabe
Welcome
Kaplan.
Back, Kotter.
Gabe Kaplan's my hero. My hair.
So we're wrapping up our 100 best.
We're wrapping up something.
Our Kamikaze best graphic novels, 100 greatest, no particular order. Apparently, our introduction is in no particular order too, but you know where we're going at with this. Because we got some great stuff in front of us for our final one. I think I love all 4 of these books. You know.
Mm-hmm.
For those of you who don't know, Mike picked these books. Excuse me, because he's read more comics than any of us ever will. But
that's a lot of pressure.
It is a lot of pressure, but I think he made some good choices. So.
Oh, thanks.
Good job. We got Calvin and Hobbes right over here. That was one of the first books I remember reading period as a kid. You know, from a guy from a Scholastic book fair. It looked fun. It was like,
I love book fairs.
Oh, book fairs are the best. I wish they would still do them. We should do a book fair in the shop. I guess every day is a book fair at the Kamikaze. But Calvin and Hobbes, it needs no introduction. You guys know this book. It's about a kid and his imagination. It's a comic strip, probably the best, smartest comic strip of all time. And a really great thing, and there's a couple documentaries and interviews out there now, but Bill Watterson was the J.D. Salinger of comic books for a while. Him and Steve Ditko, I say, can hold that title. Because they did their awesome work, and then they disappeared.
Imagine if Steve Ditko drew Calvin and Hobbes.
Calvin would have like huge long fingers like this, and it would be very honestly, it is kind of Randian to begin with. So I mean, I guess it would just be even more like on the nose Randian.
Alice shrugged. So did I.
Yeah. But really good. It's really smart. So if you have a kid seems like they're a voracious reader and they say words and they don't even know what they mean, like I did when I was a kid. Pick up Calvin and Hobbes because it's great. It's perfect. It talks about all sorts of philosophies and puts it in a perspective that a kid and an adult can appreciate. What's up?
Speaking of philosophies, I'm going to talk about the philosophy of film noir.
Oh, okay.
And that would be Blacksad. Done by a couple of Spanish creators, primarily published in French. Always first.
Yeah.
Then a Spanish edition comes out like a month later, and then us here in the New World, we get it much later. There are 3 volumes, I think, right now. Blacksad, his name's John Blacksad. He's a black cat. Everybody in it are animals.
Yeah.
And it's fun. It's a little stereotypical. Like the cops are all dogs.
At least they're not
bad guys are like reptiles or amphibians. Female characters tend to be more human looking.
Okay.
Because they're the most evolved of us all.
I agree.
But it's set in like 1950s America. John Blacksad is a hard-boiled PI of that. Of course,
yes.
Like Raymond Chandler and just like that.
Yeah.
He's grew up poor. He was in World War II. He's like an excellent marksman, and he just knockabout type of guy, and he just gets in these scrapes. Just like if you like detective and crime fiction, this stuff is perfect. Just it's anthropomorphic.
So it's got anthropomorphic animals. It's set pre-World War II. Could it
post 1950s?
Sorry. Couldn't it be almost a sequel to Mouse?
Sure.
Sorry.
Well, that would be Mouse 2.
Yeah, Mouse 2. Yeah. There's a Mouse 3 too. But that's cool. I really like serious stories done with that. With
a different archetype thrown in.
I mean, it reminds me of Usagi Yojimbo comes to mind, but that's way more like sort of fun fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
Very serious. But this seems like
I feel like European creators have more success using anthropomorphic characters than in the U.S. I mean,
they probably have some more. They probably just have more freedom. I don't know.
I
feel
think
like
so.
They probably just don't have someone breathing down their neck to be like, make sure it's accessible to all these audiences. I love Italian comics, and I don't know why I said Italian, probably because I own a lot of them. But European comics are always just so weird,
mature.
Yeah, but at the same time, like
and
out there at the same.
They are. That could be a future episode.
Yeah,
we're hinting at lots of future comings.
We're like a Marvel Cinemas production.
We are teasers,
lots of little teasers and stuff like that. You're going to get something doused in your brain.
Yeah, because later on in this episode, we're going to have like Robert Downey Jr. come in and do a quick teaser for
at the end. Oh, man. All right, moving on. Screw Marvel. Just kidding. Love Marvel. We got New Krypton, which was a big crossover event. And
DC? A giant crossover?
Oh,
stop,
please. Like, DC's the only one that does it. But New Krypton was cool. It was a concept that I don't think a lot of people would say. It was kind of like, it goes with that sort of like bringing back Bucky and like, bringing back Jason Todd. Like, who would ever do that? New Krypton. They bring back Krypton. The bottled city of Kandor gets hucked out into space by something, and it blows up like a giant sponge dinosaur into a new Krypton that orbits the other side of the sun, like kind of where we are. And it's all about Superman, like, geez, who am I loyal to? Am I loyal to human? It sort of brings that question that Superman has, am I loyal to my alien race or am I a human? Really brings that decision, like, right to his front door. Mm-hmm. And Superman honestly gives up being Superman for a while. And I know you've seen that before, but a bunch of other characters come in and fill the roles.
Superman no more.
Superman no Abi, good cover. But there's some great characters and stuff like that. They bring back like Krypto is a big part of this story.
There was one like a crypto-centric issue.
Yeah, Krypto's
I read that one. I've never read this. I read a lot of the Jeff Johns Superman prior.
Yeah, and that was good. And he keeps going with that stuff. Jeff Johns kind of really revitalized sort of Metropolis as like a really cool upcoming city of tomorrow that it's supposed to be. And then James Robinson, you've got two names, Jeff Johns and James Robinson. I think Jeff Johns was writing action, James Robinson was writing Superman. James Robinson does his awesome thing where he just brings in all the old characters from the past and gives them like a new shine on them. Atlas shows up from Jack Kirby's Atlas shows up. That's really cool. Codename Patriot, Lucy Lane, Krypto, like I said, and Mon-El. I like Mon-El. Mon-El is a Daxamite, for those who don't know. It's very similar to a Kryptonian, but his kryptonite is lead. Something really simple, and bullets got lead.
So he would lose against the Metal Men.
Yeah, well, I mean, they would never fight because the Metal Men are totally good guys, and so's Mon-El. Anyway, New Krypton, really cool. Check it out. And our final, is this our final?
This is, yeah, and this is as close to Robert Downey Jr. as we're getting in this episode. The Doomquest.
It's a great name in general.
It is, yeah, because Dr. Doom is the best comic book villain there is.
Yeah, you can set him up against anyone, and he automatically becomes their archenemy.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
There are two stories in this volume. They're both written and drawn by David Michelini and Bob Layton, who, in my estimation, did the best Iron Man stories there have been.
They did Armor Wars, right?
Yep, they did.
Yep.
This is the first story in here is Dr. Doom. He's going throughout time and learning sorcery from every era's like major sorcerer, so he can rescue his mother's soul from hell, which is one of his driving motivations.
Yeah. And
he needed components from Stark Labs. He got them. Tony Stark saw, hey man, who the heck, okayed this going to Latveria? That's Dr. Doom. Fired that guy. Doom's like, hey man, I need my stuff. Gets it. They come into conflict and get cast through Dr. Doom's time portal back to Camelot.
His time cube?
His time
platform. Yeah, it's just a square that just rises
the coolest
up.
time machine, I think, ever. That it just keeps rising up on you. But yeah, they get cast back into Camelot.
Yeah.
Where Doom had it set to see Morgana Le Fay.
She's she's so cool.
She is.
That's
so Doom is on Morgana's side. Iron Man's on King Arthur's side. Blew my mind when I was like 10 and I read this. I'm like, oh my god, King Arthur, Iron Man,
that's cool.
Brilliant.
And it's only 2 issues.
It's 2 issues. Like, whereas today, this story would be like 17 issues. Nothing, not as nearly as much accomplished in those 17 issues as they did in these 2.
Yeah.
And then 100 issues later, David Michelini and Bob Layton come back, and the same thing happened, except they're in the future.
Right.
Because Arthur is supposed to return to Britain in its greatest time of need, and there's Merlin, who is the catalyst for bringing them to the future this time.
Yeah.
And
I love public
awesome.
domain characters in Marvel and DC Comics. when Dracula shows up. I love how Dracula is like this cosmic like juggernaut in the Marvel universe. Merlin, he showed up. Remember, he showed up in Thunderbolts recently. Remember that?
Yeah.
When they were doing the little time travel thing, he was totally just. They can just play with the look so much and give you a different look at this character, because we're so used to thinking of Merlin as big beard and a big robe or whatever. And comic books, you don't have to do that. Merlin can be the superhero of his age. Yeah, he had like dreadlocks or something like that.
He had a big like Disney-esque like star hat in the future in the second story in this. It took me out of it just a tiny bit, but the fact that it revisited 100 issues later was great to me. I like that continuity. Like David Michelini Iron Man, I will recommend it all the time to anyone who comes in the store.
They gave Iron
Check
Man
out that
really
book.
cool. They didn't give it to him, but just that's the Iron Man I think of when I think of Iron Man. Their design on that costume with the hip discs and the cool shoulder things. And
Epaulets.
is that what they're called?
Yeah, he always had his Freon tube in there, which he used against Morgana's dragon in one of them. I don't want to wreck it for you.
Freon. All right, cool. That was
Good
our
stuff.
100 greatest graphic novels.
Yeah.
Flew by just like that. Not for Tom.
Wingless Tom.
Wingless Tom. Tom is the man. We'd like to thank Tom.
We would.
But we just can't right now. We just don't have the time. Sorry. Bye, everybody. See you in season 3. So Videodrome is filmed at Comicazi in Somerville, Massachusetts, and we got awesome stuff. We got new toys, new comics, old comics, subscriptions, an awesome eBay store. Check us out. We are the best comic book store on the East Coast, bar none.